Okay, hello everyone, and I know this video you really aren't going to see my face, but I have the pleasure of starting some starter locks on my friend, and as you guys can see, he has on the finer side, hair-wise texture. And so for finer hair, I really suggest, and again, this channel is my opinion, to each his own. I have to say that so no one attacks me in the comment section. But I really think for finer hair like this, finger coils really works really well. Now, I will say you do have to be more on the gentle side when you have finger coils, opposed to like 2-strand twists or starting locks with like braids. But if you have fine hair, unless you start your locks on dry hair, I really think the coils would work best, because the 2-strand twists, they might come out and then the braids might come out also. I would never suggest starting your locks and then putting rubber bands at the end just to keep it together. And so you really want to find a method that works really well for your hair type and your hair texture. And so here, as you can see, it wasn't really half of his head, but his hair was really shaved in a mohawk. It's shaved on the other side too, and there's an undercut. And so I really wasn't expecting him to have this much hair. I knew he had long hair. It really just blew my expectations as far as how much hair he had and how long it was. And so previous to me starting his locks, we did discuss a little about, the size of locks he wanted. He didn't want small ones, nor did he want really thick ones. And so we decided on like medium-sized ones. And so that becomes my first point. When you're starting locks, the size of the part will really genuinely tell you how big your locks are to be. So if you want bigger locks, you want bigger parts. If you want smaller locks, of course you want smaller parts. You feel me? And so I also want to say, with finer hair like this, the coils, they have like spaces in it, but if you've ever done finger coils or whatever, the spaces will fill out as the hair dries. And so you'll probably see, his hair progress and dry throughout this video, and you'll see the spaces fill out more. And so yeah, that's what happens with finger coils. Everyone's hair is different. With more kinky or more coily hair, you probably really won't have those spaces at all, because your hair is more on the thicker side as far as curl pattern, if you understand what I'm saying. And so yeah, here I'm just trying to get the parts straight. I know it kind of looks a little lopsided, and it's just the position of the camera and also the position of his head. So no, his parts are not lopsided. I really tried to take my time with the parts, and that's what you want to do. You don't want to rush through locking your hair. You don't want to rush job. You want to take your time on the parts, is what I'm saying, because this part is the basis, it's the groundwork for your locks to come. I also wanted to say, with parts, you want to continuously, as you part, make sure that the parts are like even, because it is very easy to like part lopsided or really lopsided. And when you part lopsided, half of the head will be like half of the part will be thicker than the other part, if you know what I mean. So that's what I'm doing. That's why I keep just flipping it up and down to make sure that it's even thickness wise throughout the part. Okay, so excuse me if I keep saying finger coils, because there really is there isn't a big difference between finger and comb coils, but there kind of is, especially as far as locks. If you do start with coils, you do want to make sure you do comb coils and not finger coils. But let's get into the technique of finger coiling it. So what you want to do first is make sure you start at the root. And I'm trying to see if I'm going to start parting it and start one. But what you do is you take your comb and you start at the root and twist. You also want to make sure that you are twisting in the same direction throughout the whole head. And so for his locks, I twisted clockwise. The whole head is twisted clockwise to the right. And as I'm saying that, I'm doing the hand motion to make sure. But yes, his locks are twisted clockwise. So you want to make sure that all of your locks are going in the same direction. I know some people feel like, oh, it doesn't matter what direction your locks are going in, but I do think it matters. What you want to do is take the comb and start at the root and then just twist. I want to put in there, if you are doing it on your hair or someone else's hair and their hair is long, you want to make sure that you are continuously flipping the hair over the comb, because you will tangle the hair in the comb. And so just make sure you're not going too hard and too rough. You also want to make sure you're not damaging the hair and pulling at it. So that's why I was saying it's really important to take your time. But as you can see, that's what I'm doing there, continuously flipping his hairs, the strand, you know, that I have to lock over the comb, because you do not want to tangle it, because then you're just gonna have to cut it out, to be honest, unless you can somehow untangle all of it. But yeah, and so that's what his hair is super long, like I said. So half of his lock you probably won't be able to see in the clip as I'm watching, but yeah, you want to make sure you continuously flipping the hair over the comb. I also did use water in his hair. He had some conditioner in his hair, and I did bring some flaxseed and Jamaican castor oil gel with me, but to be honest, I didn't use that at all, except for probably like one or two in the front that just, you know, were having a little trouble coiling up. But for the most part, his hair coiled up really effortlessly. Like, it was just effortlessly. As you can see, the only product I used was water, and I did ask him if he had anything in his hair, and he said conditioner. And so yeah, as you can see, his hair coils up perfectly. It was really nice. And so yeah, so I did have to chop this video up, because in some of the video I was standing in front of the camera. Boo, I know, I suck. But yeah, I think total it took me probably 3.5 hours to do his whole head. I do like to take my time, especially if they're starter locks, because I mean, like I said, this is the base for your locks, so you want to make sure that you're not rushing through it. And yeah, and so like I was saying before, well, I don't know if I said this or not, but as you guys can see in the video, some of the ones that I just coiled, they look, you know, straight, like there's no curl, right? But you know, as it dries, it will what's wrong with me? It will coil up. as far as parts, I gave him rectangular, square, whatever you want to say, brick. I think people call it brick more so, but I gave him brick parts. You can do like, what are they called? Oval? I don't know if it's oval. I think it might just be called free parts. It's where they just don't part it on, they just grab the hair. You can do the brick that I did. You can do, what is that oval one? I think it is called oval. You can do diamond. There's a lot of patterns you can do as far as parts and stuff. If you are looking to start your hair or looking to have someone help you start your hair, don't overcomplicate it, because looking at all these YouTube videos on parting and patterns and stuff, it can get a little complicated, and I don't think locks necessarily need to be complicated. I mean, you should know what you're doing. Make sure you definitely do your research. But you don't have to overcomplicate it. And so yeah, I gave him the brick pattern. As you see, I started with combing, detangling each one at the ends. That'll help not to rip or damage any of his hair. Start coiling at the root. Make sure you're flipping the hair back over the comb. Oh, and that's another thing. If it gets tangled, because I mean, if you're dealing with like long hair like his was, it could get a little tangled. Excuse me, y'all, it's late. It could get a little tangled as you're coiling it. So what you have to do is just stop where you're coiling it. It won't untangle, and then just comb out, you know, the rest that you have to do, and then just finish coiling it. As far as his ends, I did have to go back a couple times just to make sure, just for my own, you know, sanity, just to make sure that the ends were coiled enough to not unravel the rest of the coil. Again, with I would keep wanting to say finger coils. Again, with comb coils, finger coils, whatever you want to call them, coils, you do want to make sure that you are being delicate with them. If you know how I started my locks, I did start my sister started my locks. Shout out to Bria. She started my locks with comb coils. Caught myself there. She started my locks with comb coils. And I guess it really does depend on if you have like fine hair like his. My hair was a little bit more coarse and kinky. Maybe not coarse, but kinky. Definitely more kinky and curly. But yeah, you do want to make sure you're being really delicate in the first couple, I was going to say days, but honestly weeks of having your coils, just to make sure that they shouldn't unravel at all. But still, you just want to make sure that you're being a little delicate. You know, make sure you're sleeping with a bonnet on, a scarf, whatever, silk, that is, no cotton. Cotton dries out your hair. Make sure you're tying your hair up at night, and you should be good, you know. And so in this clip, I finally finished his whole head. And I just wanted to, you know, help his coils dry a little bit. And so as you can see, that's what I was talking about. They do eventually coil up and the spaces do fill out once they dry. And so I was just trying to help assist in that drying process. I don't think they got all the way dry, but then again, his hair was fine also, so it shouldn't have taken long at all for his hair to dry. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing. You want to make sure you're not going on too high of a heat to blow the coil out. So I think it was on a medium heat. And I'm not really even, really for real having the blow dryer that far, or I guess close to his head. I need to go to bed. That close to his head. And a couple of them I did decide to go back and coil it some more, just to assure that it was not going to come out, Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope I covered all your questions about starter locks and finger coils, comb coils, whatever you refer to them to. If I missed any of the questions, or if you have any questions I did not answer, make sure to just comment and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. I was super excited about how his hair turned out, and I'm super excited to see how his locks, or his coils, progress into locks. At the end you will see a clip of it in a video, just a video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can catch up on more lock videos and tips to growing healthy long locks. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram in this crazy journey we call life. See you guys later.